This is the Oura Ring 3. After 3 months of use, was this even worth it? Let's talk about it. So setup with the Oura Ring was really simple, really straightforward. They gave me a sizing little guide and I kind of put that on for a few days. I tried it out. I kind of wanted to decide what finger to use. I was originally going to replace my wedding ring, but then they said actually it's better to use on your index finger because I guess you get better metrics that way. It's very strange though, very odd feeling using something on your index finger. So that took some getting used to. So far, after a couple months, I have gotten used to it, but it's a little strange. Maybe I would actually go back to just, replacing like a wedding band or something. Now, what makes the Oura Ring different than others is that it's a wearable that you really don't engage with. Like an Apple Watch, for instance, you can tap and things like that and talk to and engage with it. Whereas this, you just kind of wear it and you kind of forget it. Now, for a lot of people, I think that's kind of why they want to get this. For me, I was going to just use it for sleep tracking, for reviewing mattresses and getting metrics. But then I realized, wow, this does a lot more than that. It actually does activity tracking, and it kind of shows if like you're sick or, kind of how well you're doing as far as like recovery. And I thought, man, this would be great for like, doing CrossFit and things like that. But then I realized it's a ring, and when I'm doing CrossFit stuff, there's like a big barbell, and you really can't grip anything with a ring on. It really just pinches and it just doesn't work. So this is not really a good fitness tracker because most, lifting or any sort of activity involves grabbing something. So this is pretty much only good for running and I would say very light workouts. But overall, it's still very durable. It's made of titanium. You can see right there, there's like little nodes and they kind of light up at night. They turn green or red. Green if it's doing like regular measurements. Red if it's doing the, I think it was blood oxygen levels and things like that, which kind of made me upset. Like, number one, I should not have to pay an extra $10 a month after spending $300 on this thing to get all the features. I think it's kind of weird. It's kind of gimmicky. Like, if it has the ability to do it and you invest in it, it should just do it. I shouldn't have to pay an extra $10 or whatever to get all the features. So if I were to get an Apple Watch, you just buy the Apple Watch and it just has everything. Or a Garmin watch. A Garmin watch just has everything and there's no subscription. So, but a Whoop band is kind of like this. There's a subscription model, but with the Whoop band, you don't actually buy the band. You just pay $10 or $30 a month and then it comes in the mail. So this, you have to buy it and get a subscription, so it kind of sucks in that way. And obviously if you're running, I have no way to look at a screen, know my pace, my distance, none of that. So in one way I can kind of zone in, but in another way, I can't just look real quick. Gotta pull up my phone, and that's annoying. All right, bye. So I'm not a good enough runner to kind of know my pace yet. And so with the Apple Watch, you can set and start it and you can see your pace. You can see how far you've gone just at a quick look. Even when I use my phone, there's an app I use from Under Armour, and I just plug in my ear pods here and it literally just kind of tells me stuff. It kind of tells me my pace, and that's kind of a nice way to do it without a wearable. But this doesn't really do either of those things. It only tells you all the data like this after you're done running. So you don't really know how you're doing until you're done. And my favorite feature with this is I can actually pair it with my mattress. This is the 8 Sleep Pod Pro. We've talked about it a lot, but this video is sponsored by 8 Sleep. See, with 8 Sleep, this is a heating and cooling mattress pad. It does that with water and it heats and cools and it gives you all kinds of biometrics and things like that. You can actually supercharge it with an Oura Ring, but I've kind of noticed I don't even really need the Oura Ring. This does everything that I kind of want built right in. So if you're thinking about an Oura Ring, I've kind of noticed you don't really need it. Generally, I just use the built-in metrics on here and it's good enough. And it's really awesome because it wakes me up with a nice warm cycle. It kind of wakes me up nice and slowly. So if you're looking for a way to really optimize your sleep, maybe the Oura Ring is not really the best thing for you. Maybe just go with something like the 8 Sleep Pod Pro. And this is one of those devices where it's really hard to sleep without it now. Anytime you go anywhere else, it's kind of not as nice as being at home on your custom bed that custom cools to your sleep cycle and things like that. So when it comes to actually optimizing how you sleep, yes, the Oura Ring is good at it. It gives you some good sleep data and things like that. However, if you actually want to engage your sleep cycle and actually change it and things like that, the 8 Sleep Pod Pro is the way to do it. You can sleep a little colder or warmer and it kind of vibrates and things like that. There's all kinds of features built in. So thank you so much 8 Sleep for sponsoring this video. Pain in the the butt number 4 is I've noticed with the Oura Ring, it has to do like firmware updates. Now with Apple products, they just kind of do it in the middle of the night. You don't even think about it. With the Oura Ring, I was trying to update it. It gave me a screen just like this, and it didn't really work. And then the next day I tried it, and it said it wouldn't update because I have less than 30% battery power, and you can see that right here. So then I'd have to charge it again. And so just, you know, I'm used to things just updating. That's a small minor inconvenience, but you would think for something that's like ultra high tech, it would just kind of work and update, and you know, you wouldn't have to think about it too much. Now, charging times on this are really fast. It lasts about 3 to 4 days, and it charges in about an hour or so, I've kind of noticed. And it's kind of a nice, elegant little way to charge on the little stand. So that's really awesome. I like that. And I've seen the new Apple Watch. It has better battery life than this. It has better algorithms for sleep tracking and fitness tracking. You can lift barbells. You can, you know, talk to your whole smart home if you want. I have an entire Apple smart home, so I can actually do that. With this, I can't talk to it or anything. So maybe for me, I would prefer getting an Apple Watch Ultra, and it does everything this can do, but it's built in and there's no subscription needed. Even a few YouTubers have kind of compared all the stats between the Whoop, the Oura Ring, and the Apple Watch Ultra, and for a lot of people, they're showing Apple Watch Ultra is actually a better tracker in a lot of ways. Another thing I thought about is the battery is tiny on here, and so yes, it does last 3 or 4 days. It does have you know, all kinds of sensors, but after a couple hundred cycles, you know, you're probably gonna have to throw this away because you can't replace the battery. So that's something I would think about is maybe you don't want that. Maybe, like, for instance, a lot of battery operated things like watches, you can replace the batteries on those, but you can't on these. It's just something to think about. After 3 or 4 months of using this, I've noticed I don't really change my sleep habits. It doesn't really do a lot. Sometimes it'll tell me to get up and walk. Sometimes it tells me to go to bed a little earlier. But for the most part, I go to bed around 12 or 1. I wake up around 8 or 9. And that's kind of like my baseline. And, you know, generally I just kind of know if I get good sleep or not. And that's pretty much it for me. If I want to sleep a little cooler, a little deeper, I just crank this 8 Sleep Pod Pro down a little bit more, and it works for me. So this didn't really change my lifestyle at all. So that's just me. I think the biggest issue I had with this is I had to pay for a subscription to use the blood oxygen sensors and all the extra stuff. Whereas with this, you don't really need to, you know, you just buy it and then you get everything included. With this, you have to buy it and pay for the subscription. Whereas the Whoop, you just buy the subscription. So I'm kind of thinking, this is kind of a weird thing for someone who just doesn't really want to wear something on their wrist. They want more of a piece of jewelry. That's the Oura Ring user, I think. And that really makes me think about there's 2 different groups of wearable people. There's the people who want to engage with their devices. They want to hear it, they want to touch it, see it. Or there's people who don't want to think about it. They just kind of want to wear it or sleep on it, and that's it. And you know, what kind of group are you in? Are you in the wearable group, the true wearable engagement group, or the people who just kind of want to integrate it with their life and not think about it? And I would even categorize the 8 Sleep Pod Pro as a wearable that you don't think about because it has all the data. You don't even think about it just like this. You just sleep on your mattress. And I actually have a coupon code AM to PM to save, I think, up to 20% for the holiday season. So if you just want to really hack your sleep, I would probably suggest this and then maybe this, because yes, this works, but it didn't really do anything for my actual sleep cycle. So let me know in the comments below if you guys have any questions and if the Oura Ring looks interesting to you. We'll see you in the next video.